What's up YouTube, ODST General back again, and today we are loading in the Titanic. Maybe. I've tried doing this a bunch of times, so hopefully we don't have any issues. This thing is absolutely massive. Oh boy. So this, as you can tell, my system just slowed down significantly. The frame's going to drop majorly. Unfortunately, there's nothing I can do about that. I haven't lowered all of my settings, but I've lowered most of them, especially the really graphic intensive stuff for the most part. Disabled shadows, stuff like that, and do notice there's reflections. I could probably turn that off. That probably would help, but yeah, we disabled that to try and smooth things out here, and you can tell the lag's still insane. So this is made by JP Ships on the workshop page. He's the same guy who actually made the I think it's the SS Atlantic, or maybe it's the RMS Atlantic, I can't remember, but it's actually made by the same guy. It's one we actually showed off before, and that ship's quite big. I think it's a 3-part ship. This one's like 5 or 6 parts. So yeah, huge ship by comparison. And yeah, so we're just going to go ahead, hop aboard here. We do get a little loading ramp that comes in with this thing, thankfully, so that's an awesome feature. More vehicles need that. Especially some of the planes are so difficult to get into. So unlike the other ships, this one really doesn't have any interior to speak of. It's mostly just exterior parts. Still a ton of details put into it, you know, keys and stuff like that. I don't think most of these have functionality. They're just there for design, I think. Interestingly, there is steering stuff in the back. I would imagine most of this is functional, although I'm not positive. I haven't tried to use this back here. Just to give you guys a better idea of the scale of this thing, I mean, it's huge. It really is very, very big. I mean, you can see my guy's a little tiny speck there on the ship. So, really cool vessel, just if not for the scale. Most people probably will not be able to run this. Just, you know, it's just so big. It's such a massive ship. I just don't see that happening for a lot of people. I mean, I've got a pretty good computer. It's not the best, but it's pretty good. It's pretty powerful, and I'm struggling to run this. And the comments have basically said as much. A lot of people have said they won't even load up for them. In fact, I've had some issues with like the graphics where the game just didn't want to load. Anything basically just gave me a black screen when trying to load this if I tabbed out or anything. So I gotta be careful. Hopefully we won't have any crashing. I'm running this now with OBS on top of that, so it's pushing it even further. But you know, we'll see what happens here. Like I said, there's not much in the way of the interior for this thing. But the interiors it does have are pretty awesome. I mean, if you look at this flooring here, I'm not sure exactly, but I'm willing to bet that this was all done by hand. These are all like the standard paintable blocks, and that's like all detail the guy did. Now, you can mirror that and stuff, and I'm sure that's what he did to save himself from work, but still, I mean, even then, like all the stuff that you look at that's painted in here, I mean, there's so much of it. Like, you know, he had to put a ton of work in here to get all this stuff painted and done properly. Really like the staircases in this. So this thing's actually not done yet, though. The guy who's made it, JP Ships, he's even said so much that he is going to continue updating this over time, adding new things. I think his next plan is to add the grand staircase, which of course is one of the bigger features of the Titanic. Got some really big smokestacks and stuff. A lot of fake doors on here, a lot of painted on doors. So more so the illusion that there's an interior. If you look on the cameras and stuff, though, you actually start looking around in this, and you see that there's really not an interior. There is a couple of actual functional doors, like right here. We've got some sliding doors with stairs that go down here. And that just is all stuff designed to take us down to lower decks for exterior purposes. Yeah, oh gosh, the lag is real though. Some windows all along here, so it's really neat features. Like I said, just tons and tons of detail put into this thing. So really, really good model. Even though you can barely run it, it's ton of work, ton of heart and effort's been put into putting this thing together. I can only imagine the amount of time it's taken this guy. He said it took him, I think, like 3 months, and just that's astounding to me that somebody could create something like this in 3 months. I mean, you know, it's this almost to me seems harder than just like modeling the ship outright in some ways, because like with the modeling, you know, it just like the complexity of modeling is a little bit more difficult to learn up front, but I mean, I would imagine it's a lot easier to like carve out all this stuff than having to like try and like imagine where all the blocks need to be to like actually get the proper sizing and scaling to look right. I don't know if that's true, but that's just the way I think it would be. So we've got 2 things for power here. We've got 2 throttles. All the rest of these I think are just for looks. I did power them up, but yeah, they don't seem to actually do much of anything. This is advanced mode, and it does just run right away. So as you can see, we are now underway. It's getting kind of foggy, isn't it? It's not getting foggy, but it's getting late. So we do have 1 control for the horns. And this thing is actually syncable, so that's kind of an interesting feature of it. Now, it is very slow. I would like to get it up into the Arctic area, but it's so big, so slow. Turning takes forever, and I just really don't see that happening. They did suggest having damage off. I would imagine that's so your computer doesn't explode into a million pieces. However, I do think damage might be enabled by default on this current playthrough. I have just gone to the continue area, so I don't know exactly what would happen if we struck a rock or something or hit a less deep area. But if we go inside, we can actually go inside, peek inside the ship here. You guys get kind of a look through what's going on. So we've got a bunch of propellers and stuff in there, as well as looks like some sliding open up doors that those doors open up to cause the ship to sink, and those are kind of throughout the entire ship here, at least in the yeah. So there's some in the back too. So just basically designed to let a bunch of water in so that you can sink the ship. Of course, you want pretty deep water to do that because it is a massive vessel. But yeah, let's go ahead. This thing does take a little bit to sink, but I do want to, you know, just pilot it for a minute. So we got some light switches over here too. So we've got our navigational lights and our interior lighting. Got a compass there for navigation. But other than that, pretty basic ship design, very similar to the Atlantic. But you know, of course, like I said, the real true thing of this, the really cool parts of the Titanic here, this particular workshop creation is its scale. I mean, that's really what it comes down to. Is it's just a big boat. Of course, I mean it's an extremely famous boat too, but you know, I mean, there's not much that really differentiates this thing from the Atlantic that's already in the game. There is a bunch of keys down here in a locked box. I don't know if there's any way to operate that. That crane doesn't look operational. I mean, it's got hooks and stuff, but I don't think you can actually operate it at all. Yeah, I don't know. There's also what appears to be anchors, but I think that's just decorative too. Still, yeah, nonetheless, really cool. As you can see, slowly but surely turning around here. Let's put this on nighttime mode too, and let's take a look at this thing in the dark. So once again, gorgeous ship in the dark. Kind of a neat feature too is he lights up some of the windows. I don't know how he went about lighting up just some of these windows with backlighting like that, but he lights up some of the windows, but not all of them. So it looks like some of the ship is awake, but not all of it. So that's kind of neat. I wish it was a little bit more randomized because there's like none beyond a certain point, although it might just be because that's the front of the ship. It might be that more of this is supposed to light up or something and just not hooked up properly. I don't know. Yeah, really cool ship in the dark though. Let's take a quick stroll on it here. we're actually going to start triggering this too, because it does take a minute for this to start going down. So we're going to, while we do this, we're just going to stroll around the ship, check it out at night here. But yeah, just, you know, imagine taking this up into the Arctic area here, and, you know, just kind of recreating the sinking. I mean, it's, you know, it's a tragic event too, but I mean, it's such a historical event. You know, it's something a lot of people want to recreate just because it is such a big point in history. Even if it is as tragic as it was, but you know, anyways, a lot of cool stuff though. It's just really awesome recreation. So sinking doesn't seem to affect performance too much, thankfully, but I'm not really sure. I didn't fully sync this last time I played through. I actually ended up exiting out or changing something on the graphics settings and kind of botched things. So we're going to try and avoid doing anything with the graphics or photo modes or anything like that, and just kind of letting this go on its own course. So it might be kind of difficult to tell. There is a noticeable tilt in the ship starting now. So we're going to go ahead and head back to the front of the ship. It looks like the back of the ship is actually sinking. Last time I played, the front of the ship, the front left started tilting in pretty quick, but it did take a while for it to sink. That was right on the back there. It felt like we were angled up. I think the ship's supposed to split apart too, from what I've seen. I mean, that's definitely looking like it's angling forward from here. I swore just a second ago, though, that the front looked higher. Maybe I was seeing things. It's such a big ship, it could easily be just like an optical illusion at that distance. So we're just getting back up to the main cabin. So you can see definitely dipping forward on that left side again. So same as my first time here. So let's go ahead. We're gonna pop it back into daytime mode here. Kind of want to see how well this thing holds up to a tsunami. I should have done that too, but I don't know if my game could handle that. The tsunami can put a lot of pressure on a PC with all the smaller objects and stuff, so it likes to move around. We're so fairly close to the starting island, so I don't know if it would actually generate any of that stuff. It would certainly, or it almost certainly, wipe out the ship as it stands right now. I don't know if it has any other ways to get inside from the top, but I just don't see it really handling anything much better. But yeah, you can see it's a pretty slow sinking. I'm kind of curious if it actually breaks apart. I've heard it splits in half, so I don't know if that's, like I said, don't know if that's true. But that was according to the creator, that it does break in half, as somebody suggested. So I don't know if once we get deeper here, if the magnets are set to like a timer or something after the sinking started to try and better replicate the ship splitting in half, or what, but we'll see. In the meantime, we are just basically going straight out. We're definitely never going to make it to anything else. I mean, this thing it is so slow. It really is. I'm kind of curious about the fuel consumption. I don't know what the range on this thing would be, because this is a realistic creation, so it's got fuel settings and stuff. You know, it's got a limited amount of fuel. It can only get so far by itself without needing to be refueled, and there is no means to refuel it. So, you know, don't know how well or how far this thing is actually designed to get, or if it's just really a really pretty big ship. You can see the water filling up in both the bow and the stern of the ship. So coming in pretty quick for the most part, at least in the front. The back's a little bit slower, but it is coming in there. It's starting to fill it up. Those new water graphics they got in there, definitely a lot better, looking a lot easier to tell where the water is and is not when it's filling up. Still not perfect, but certainly significantly better than what it was previously. hopping down here, let's try and do this without getting her. I'm already injured from before. So kind of want to go and check this out in third person and first person. Starting to get down there pretty good. The water is going to start catching up to the to this area pretty much any time here. You can see it seems to be going significantly faster now. Actually, last time I wasn't paying much attention, I almost got waited too long because there's only that one staircase back up there, so that higher side of the ship is unfortunately not a good way to get back up. I mean, it's got a couple of grab bars there, it looks like, but certainly not a safe way to try and get back up on there. The higher deck, so yeah, getting up there a lot quicker now than it was. Front of the ship, the black paint of the ship's almost gone. It's almost to the gold trim on the ship there. Oh, there's a couple of sliding hatches. I wonder if those are operational in some way, shape, or form. Yeah, so you can see here in the bow of the ship that is almost done. There's the anchor up front too. It's a little bit higher here near the bow than it is off to the side, but just barely. It looks like water might... Yeah, water's starting to come onto the deck here, so I gotta go work my way over to these stairs here at that lower portion. Yeah, the gold trim's already getting covered up here, and that water's rising on the deck pretty quick here, so I want to get over here before I get swept away by the ocean trying to get back. Yeah, it fills up really quick. I mean, it takes a while to get to this point, but once it starts going, I mean, look at how fast that's starting to come onto the deck now that it's going down. I mean, that's going really fast. Also, unfortunately, these lifeboats, none of these lifeboats are functional, so I mean, once it's gone, it's just gonna be gone. I mean, that's coming up to me here pretty quick. I'm gonna have to go up these stairs again in just a second. But yeah, definitely rushing up pretty quick here. It is starting to list a little bit more, it looks like, too. It's hard to say. Not vastly more, but just a teeny bit. The back almost looks like it's starting to raise up, too. I think that's just not so much raising up, though. It's probably just this is lowering down, so that looks like it's raising up. Starting to get up on the bow of the ship now, too, so it's almost level with me here. I'm still a little bit higher, but just barely. Of course, this barrier that I'm next to is stopping that somewhat. But I think we should probably, yeah, we should definitely move up to the next level. It's coming up really quick here all of a sudden. So we're going to just go ahead and pop up here. Yeah, so that part where I was just standing is now water rushing onto the deck there through the barriers. Splashing up over the sides. The whole lower section there is now covered in water. Little bit of room where it's not completely flooded, but just barely. And that's already almost gone. That little section there that didn't have water like completely over it. The entire bow of the ship's now almost underwater too. Let's go ahead, head back up here. It'll be another second before it gets up here, but I want to go back to the helm and check this out in third person again, see what it looks like. Okay, so I stand corrected. The back of the ship is in fact raising up. You can see the rudder is out of the water. Looks like we are still moving forwards, but I'm not really sure how all the, I guess it's just probably the momentum we already had before, in theory. Pretty much the entire bow, except for that one little tiny corner, which, yep, just went under, is submerged. It's pretty much all on that first level now, and we are going to have to start moving out of here really quick, because that is going down really fast now. So we're actually, well, let's go on this side of the ship. I mean, it's definitely the more dangerous side with it listing like that, but Yeah, we'll take this. We're gonna head to the back now. I wanted to go to the back anyways to see the ship raising, but with the rate at which it's starting to sink here, it's starting to go really fast and it's starting to list a lot more. I wanna try and get back to the high ground as quick as possible. I don't know, like I said, I don't know if this will break apart. I don't know if it'll break in half. It's like 5 pieces, so there's definitely the capability for the ship to do that. And as it sinks, as the power gets knocked out, it's definitely gonna start splitting apart here. Of course, if that does happen, I don't know that my computer can handle that, so we'll see. Oh man, look at that water. That is rushing up super fast now. We are going under so quickly now that this has started its final descent here. Oh my gosh, that is definitely catching up with me here. Oh boy, and it's going significantly more vertical. Oh wait. Oh, it just split in half. It just split. The ship's leveling out some. Well, let's keep going back here. I was gonna go back and check it out, but if we can get back here, we can get on that rear helm position and check it out from back here. The ship is now diving backwards. So now this high ground I was going to is becoming the low ground here in a second, I suspect, or will be. Still raised up, so maybe not. I don't know. It looked like it was going to shift backwards. It's hard to say. I don't know how this thing's going to react. The front of the ship seems to be completely submerged. I thought we split. It really looked like we split. I'm still thinking we maybe did. It's hard to say for sure. I can see the back two smokestacks. I don't see the front ones at all. Oh man, look at those things coming out of the water. Massive, too. And it's really hard to appreciate that without my character standing next to them, but they are really big. It does look like the ship split just because I can see where the white parts of the ship, the white paint and the gold trim and stuff. It's a little bit hard to tell with the black, but you can definitely see where that white splits off there from the rest. We are almost at a 90-degree angle here. And we're diving pretty quick here. There goes the other rear mast, and we're about to go under any second here. It looks like it might flip over. I wish I had a scuba suit on so we could follow this thing down. I didn't even think about that. Oh boy. So we are now underwater. We're just gonna ride this thing down, I guess. See how far we go. We're gonna definitely hit pressure here before too long. I don't know how deep the water is here. We're not super far away from the island. Actually, I don't know if we'll make it back up before we start taking damage. It looks like that might have hit the bottom. I don't know where the front split off to or the front got off to of the ship, but it's definitely looking like the rear hit the bottom because it's now stopped. It didn't go down that far, but now it's starting to fall over onto its side. So I think that's what happened. I think it hit the bottom. Do not have a scuba suit or anything to really be able to check this out properly. But yeah, definitely pretty crazy. Let's go ahead. Let's just dive down. We'll probably have to die doing this, but oh man, yeah, it gets so it's deep enough though that you can't even really see the front of the ship even where it breaks off. It's so dark down there. I'm willing to bet too. Well, maybe it's still diving. It feels like it's moving with us. I don't know if that's because it's trying to like fall flat onto the ground. We're hitting pressure depths now that it's starting to hurt us from the pressure without a suit or anything on. Of course, oxygen's going to kill us in just a moment anyways. Wow, there's still light on the ship. That still has power in a couple places. That's surprising. Okay, our oxygen supply is gone, so now we're taking pressure damage and oxygen damage. So yeah, we're about to die here, unfortunately. So yeah, we're dead. Oh, I think that might be the rest of the ship over there. You can see a couple lights in the background, just very faintly, off to the right of the rear section. I'm wondering if that's the front of the ship. I can't see them anymore now that I'm dead, but it is it's certainly an interesting thought here. So after I die, we'll try and spawn a ship. I can't promise the game's going to keep going. If I can spawn a ship, we'll try and spawn something. I'll try and figure out if I have something with a dive suit on it and take that out. Oh, nope, the game crashed. Game didn't like me dying and trying to respawn in. So guys, that's going to be everything. That's going to be the whole video. I hope you guys enjoyed the Titanic. I thought it was a blast, but I'll see you guys in the next one. Take it easy, and I'll see you around.